Hill as the sun comes up over Washington. Time now for the must-read opinion pages at 45 past the hour. We'll start with Dona Milbank, who writes in the Washington Post, duck, duck, lose. In the hours after the Republican challenger Mitt Romney embarrassed the incumbent in their first meeting, Obama loyalists expressed puzzlement that the incumbent had done badly. But Obama has only himself to blame because he set himself up for Wednesday's Emperor Has No Clothes moment. For the past 4 years, he has worked assiduously to avoid being questioned, maintaining a regal detachment from the media and other sources of dissent and skeptical inquiry. The insularity led directly to the Denver debacle. Obama was out of practice and unprepared to be challenged. The White House had supposed that Obama's forays into social media, town hall meetings with YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and the like, would replace traditional presidential communication. By relying on such venues, Obama's argument skills atrophied, and he was ill-equipped to engage in old-fashioned give and take.
Boy, Donnie, I couldn't agree with that more. Yeah. This would not have happened to a British Prime Minister, from Margaret Thatcher to Tony Blair, that go and get beaten up every week.
Nope.
I wish we had more of that in the American system, but we do insulate our presidents.
This guy in particular insulates himself also. And the one thing I keep that over the last 4 years I've heard from everybody that has any connection to the White House, he doesn't listen to anybody around him. And he didn't listen to the guy he was standing next to the stage with. And it's as simple as that.
Okay. Charles Krauthammer, Romney by 2 touchdowns. Obama was undone on Wednesday in part by his dismissive arrogance. You could see him thinking annoyedly, why do I have to be on stage with this clod when I've gone toe-to-toe with Putin? Obama never even pulled out his best weapon, the 47%, not once. That's called sitting on a lead lazily and smugly. I wager he mentions it in the next debate more than once, and likely in his kickoff. By the end of the debate, Obama looked small, uncertain. It was Romney who had the presidential look. Re-election campaigns after a failed presidential term so failed that Obama barely even bothers to make the case, preferring to blame everything on his predecessor, hinge almost entirely on whether the challenger can meet the threshold of acceptability. Romney crossed the threshold on Wednesday night.
Donnie, you're shaking your head yes.
Yeah, I'm going to go to an interesting thought how you can understand how this could happen. In my mind, I think I was the smartest guy in advertising, or biggest advertising, and if all of a sudden I'm on stage with a guy who's got a small advertising agency in Spokane.
And by the way, nobody challenged you for 4 years in a row.
And he's describing his media strategy, and it's like, what? I'm going to talk to you. You can see the psychology behind it. If you're going up against a guy who has a little public access talk show, and you have to go one-on-one, it's like you can't help but go, I don't deserve to be doing this. Now, unfortunately, you got to, and that's what happened to the guy.
It is human nature. And by the way, Mark, we were talking about this yesterday. It happened to Ronald Reagan in 1984 in his first re-election debate. He was terrible. It happened to George H.W. Bush in 1992 in his first re-election debate. He was terrible. It happened to George W. Bush in 2004 in his first re-election debate. He was terrible as well. It is hard to be that insulated for 4 years, and this one takes being insulated to a new degree. This president does, as did George W. Bush, I think, in his 8 years. So I guess it is human nature to come out and be shocked that somebody's punching you in the face rhetorically after being so protected and basically placed in bubble wrap for 4 years. Like we do with our president.
President usually is pretty good when the game's on the line, and the game's going to be on the line in 2 weeks. He's got to perform better in that debate, or it'll be a real problem. But I think that just to focus on the debates forgets the fact that Governor Romney needs to perform in the next 2 weeks. He can't just wait for the next debate. And I think his performance yesterday, he did a conservative event. He did Hannity. I still don't quite get the logic of his Friday.
How many days Thursday. Out are we? And he is finally...
Should do Letterman.
Man. I know. I get the logic of it. He had a great performance, Mika. Let it breathe through the weekend.
Willie's Weekend Review is next.